This is an Oddcast.
Alright.
Dude, this is the first time I'm having you
As a co-ho?
as a co-ho.
Yeah, it is.
I'm kinda excited. Kasi
I know.
medyo sawa na kay Kev eh.
Okay lang. Fall in line.
Kev, if you're watching, and I'm pretty sure you are, go
hope
fuck
so.
yourself, man. Go fuck yourself. Just kidding, I love Kev. I love Kev.
I love Kev
I
also.
love Kev. But today is not about Kev.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
not
Today
about
is
Kev.
all about something else entirely. Obviously, here on the Oddcast, this is, of course, another episode of the Oddcast. And today we'll be talking about something that isn't really in my sphere
Yeah.
as a strat person.
Yeah, I guess if you and I were to form a Venn diagram,
Doon ako sa kabilang side.
doon ka sa kabilang side.
Oo.
I'm the other circle.
Oo.
Yeah.
Tapos yung mix natin, this episode. Sorry. Gonna have to bleep. Dude, it's only like fucking 1 minute in, man. I have to bleep that agad. Tayo mo.
Sorry.
But in any case, again, hindi ko siya sphere of influence, but I'm super excited to have this episode because siguro as far back as I remember, I've always wanted to get into, this.
It's an Oddcast.
This. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this episode is something that I really want to learn more about talaga. And I'm super excited to have our guest on the show,
Yep. The one and only.
the one and only Miss
Danise.
Talaba.
Hello, guys. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that VO voice, man.
Diba? Parang
Kailangan
yun,
yun.
yun talaga yung kailangan natin for interviews. Meron tayong VO voice.
VO voice
Fake VO.
VO
Yo,
voice.
pare. Let's go.
Let's go, pare. VO voice. But Denise,
Yeah.
why don't you introduce yourself to whoever, hopefully the millions that are watching today.
Millions.
Yeah.
Millions.
Oh, this will go viral. Just kidding. Okay, so hello. My name is Danise. I am a broadcast producer by profession. I'm a seasoned producer. So I've done multimedia from traditional TV, radio, digital, I think all the forms.
All the forms of
I've done
yeah.
everything. Like I've done most of the content that you can think of. So I'm the person agency people call,
Yes,
clients
sir.
call in terms of when they're ready to execute an idea.
Yeah.
So when they're ready to bring your ideas to life,
Right.
I'm that person. And when you're ready to spend money,
Exactly.
that's it.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
It's all about
That's
the
it.
money game, man.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
Denise ain't cheap, guys. Denise ain't cheap.
Lagyan natin yung rate card dito sa baba.
Tama. For a TVC, ito yung rate ni Denise.
right there.
For a social post, ito yung rate ni Denise.
Tapos may discount for if you listen from the
May code,
Oddcast.
may promo
May
code.
affiliate link. Okay.
But like with Denise, we have her on the show because there is this special, relationship that we have with Denise. Especially on the PrOdd side.
Yeah. So Denise is actually, for those of you watching, she is to say it bluntly and the most, bare form there is. She's the fairy godmother of production.
No, you're very good.
Diba? Because I feel like si Denise, like, you know how presidents have a direct line na parang there's a red phone na when they answer, they know who's on that other side of the call,
Yeah.
diba? Lahat ng mga kliyente, may ganun sila. Pero nasa kabilang side ng phone, si Denise. Parang, okay, may pera na tayo. We have the idea. Denise, we're ready.
Kind of, yeah. I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, so Denise is actually, right now, she's consulting. She's helping out PrOdd, which is the production, used to be in-house production house of Audify. But now we're our own being
Sensitive
now.
topic. Joke.
No, they are growing.
They're growing.
They
They're
are
growing.
now an independent.
May opening ba sa inyo?
Meron.
Meron.
Waterboy, tagabuhat ng ilaw.
Utility.
Gusto ko lang na matuto eh.
Okay. Sige.
Intern. Yan.
We'll send you the form to fill
Sige.
up for new applicants.
Sige. Dalhin ko na yung Oddcast sa PrOdd. Diba?
Tama.
At least may
Tama.
baon ako.
Tama.
But anyway, this episode, again, because we have Denise on the show, this episode is all about the production side of advertising. But I mean, we don't want to limit ourselves to just production on the advertising front. I think production in general is a very broad topic also. And we want to try to, as much as possible, cover as much of it as we can. But of course, syempre, because we are the Oddcast, we have to talk about it from an advertising point of view also. But again, sometimes it's nakasuka na mag-advertising. So
Sometimes?
sometimes,
Parang hindi
diplomatically
ka...
speaking, sometimes.
Okay.
Pero, yeah, but of course, again, because this is an Oddcast, we have a drink of the night.
We do have a drink of the night.
Yes.
It's called the
Red Cosmos.
Res Cosmode.
Red Cosmos.
Sorry, it's called the Red
Cosmos. Yes, sir.
All right. And then I think Danise here has a classic G&T.
G&T.
Because she's a classic.
Yeah.
Actually, bagay kasi sa amin ni DJ yung ano.
I know. I
Red
feel
Cosmos.
like I'm not the girl in this.
Yeah.
No,
Intentional.
it's red because of how red I get when I drink.
Oh.
That's true.
This is how red
Really?
I
You
get.
should see how.
You'll see.
red it
Okay,
gets.
You'll
cheers.
see in a
But
bit.
Sorry,
yeah,
I've been
this is,
sipping. May cheers pala.
This is ano ulit based in Absolute.
Yeah, vodka.
Okay.
Vodka.
So cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Welcome
Cheers,
to the
cheers,
Oddcast.
cheers.
Welcome, Danise.
Shit,
Thank
hirap nito.
I know, right?
Oh, dapat consumption shot. Sure.
Oo nga, dapat umiikot pa
Pero trap to.
Trap nga to.
Trap siya. Tayo ng Oddcast. So again, Red Cosmos is available in the Odd Cafe.
Yep. Actually, goal ko for the Oddcast is may mag-message sa atin na one person lang who's just like, I've tried every drink of the night that you've ano, di ba parang that's the fan right there.
Yeah.
That's the fan.
That's the fan
That's
right
the
there.
dream. That's the dream. That's the kind of people we want watching the show. You know?
Drunks.
Yeah, but but let's get into it. I think what I'm interested about is, and I'm sure you get this a lot, but I mean, for the context of the viewers, I wanted to get to know more of your background and how you got to where your position is now.
Wow.
Like, ano ba yung background? Ano ba journey mo para makapunta dito?
It's a long story. But, okay. Paano ba? So, I guess I got into production in a way na it's a bit of a classic story, I would say. Like, I grew up loving films.
Yes, sir.
Loving movies. I was so in love with movies. I was such a geek. Started, like making kut-kut on cameras. I even edited videos in Windows Media Player.
Wow.
Ganyan classic, di ba? Tapos,
Sa mga bata dyan.
may mga digicam ka, may film camera ka, ganyan.
CapCut na ngayon yung mga ginagamit.
Okay. Sorry guys, nung panahon namin, Windows Media Player na yung pinaka-advanced. Tapos, bibili ka pa ng pirata sa Harrison ng Photoshop.
Tama.
Diba?
Tama. Kakrack mo pa yun.
Pag tas hanapin mo yung keygen, whatever, para makrack mo. Anyway, so parang, I was so geeky back in high school na parang I was so into that stuff. Like, I really liked taking photos, and then photography was my first love. I think that was the first entry point. Love taking photos, editing, exploring softwares, editing and stuff like that. And then I sort of knew that I kind of like this. I really like creating stuff with a camera. I really like being behind the camera, taking photos of my friends, taking videos of my friends, and then I edit it.
So is it weird that you're in front of the camera
I
now?
know. This is so weird because I don't do this a lot. Like, if you even check my own Instagram, you don't even see a lot of my own photos.
That's true.
Unless, it's a special occasion. So it all started with that, and then applied for Com Arts in LaSalle. So parang,
Animo.
di ba? Animo. Huwag yun na tanongin yung ID number namin. Basta may 0.
Tama.
Alam niyo na yun. Pag
Yung sa akin din may 0.
kung may 0 pa, ancient na. Kami yun. So anyway, went to Com Arts. Was really, really inspired to do films. Like, I really wanted to. I think the biggest dream of mine was really to direct. Until now naman, I think my biggest dream is to direct my own film.
Yeah.
That was the track. Took up Com Arts. My thesis was a short film. And then after that, kasi sobrang bibo kid ko, like I joined orgs, joined so many things, like very, very nerdy. So while I was joining these orgs, I got exposed into festivals.
Oh.
Met people, met directors, met writers, met creatives. And then it really opened another universe, I guess, in terms of how I see, filmmaking in general. Kasi parang, this little girl came from Laguna, who's basically a probinsyana, right? went to Manila, studied film, met these people, and sort of networked my way. And started doing small gigs. Like I did production assistant work, I did sound engineering work, I did editing work, as in tinry ko lahat. Because I wanted to figure out who am I in that space. Because if you're in comm arts or if you're in a film course, normally, you know, a professor would ask, who among here in the room aspired to be a director? I bet 90% will raise their hand.
Yeah.
For sure,
Right?
for sure.
Like
for
everybody
sure.
will say,
Kahit nga ako, di-commerce, I'd raise my
exactly.
hand.
Everybody wants to be a director. When that happened to me back in college, when I saw all those hands, I thought, I think I need to rethink my option. I
Daming
feel like,
Daming
parang,
kalaban.
teka lang, lalo na probinsyana ako, parang wala ako masyadong edge. May mga kaklase ako, apelido pa lang. Came from like a prominent, family who...
Coppola, ganun.
Oo, parang kaklase mo pala si David Fincher. Charot. I mean, you get what I mean. So parang I never had that leverage so much. Like my only leverage up to now was really just hard work.
For sure.
Like I was never the smartest, never the strongest. I was never the wealthiest. I never had the most unfair advantage.
Nice.
I was always the person who was just consistent and who was just always showing up for things.
Yeah.
I feel like until now, that's still me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that and sort of got lucky along the way while I was doing those small gigs. Met a very prominent person in the advertising industry. She was looking for a trainee.
Ooh.
And I was lucky. Oh, hey, here's this Bibo kid. Oh, I want to try this. I never knew when I met her. I never knew this world. Like I was so surprised that what the hell? Advertising? Like there's a discipline of production and advertising. But then I met this person and then it opened my world in advertising. So I was very lucky because I was mentored by probably the best person in the industry. Everything I know now was everything I know was because of her. Like, I will never become this kind of producer if it weren't for her. She was really a big mentor.
Shout out
She was really a big part of my life. And I was under her for, I don't know, more than 5 years, I think. 5-6 years, probably. That's where I honed my skills, got into this life, and opened my world and met all of the agencies. I've met the big agencies. I've met boutique agencies, ganyan. And then met directors, met production houses, audio houses, and so on. Coming from Manila, even offshore. Like, grabe. Parang once you enter this world, it will really expand into so much more. I think that's what I love about this job. It's just that
The amount of people you meet.
And the amount of people not only you meet, but you get to mobilize
That's true.
in every
Totoo.
project.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what's amazing about production. And then you just create something together. Right? Like
for sure.
imagine 100 people involved in a 30-seconder that nobody even
Grabe yun.
watched.
I mean, if you put it into
skip
perspective.
lang sa YouTube.
Diba?
Ouch! Tamaan ako doon. Mga shout out sa mga O&O.
Just kidding.
Yung team ko yun, sorry. Kami
Yeah.
nag-conceptual sa mga ads dati.
Yeah, and so parang, and then I guess, and then I was just really enjoying it and have been doing this for, oh my God, for 12 years.
12
or
years.
Going 13.
Going
yeah.
13 na nga siguro.
Oh, parang tagal na eh. Parang I started 2011, 2012. Yeah.
Shit.
So, and I guess over time, as the time changed, coming from TV, radio, nakita ko yung transition to digital. Like literally before I get a brief, they don't even call it before digital video. Oh, I want to make a viral video.
Wow.
Literally, that was
That's
the
so
brief.
offensive.
Trigger word.
Oh, God.
That was the brief before. They
Viral
say,
video?
Yeah.
Tangina nun.
Kasi before,
Sampal sa
nobody,
mukha yun,
wala pang concept of digital. Like
Yeah.
everybody was calling it viral video. I vividly remember an era that time. And then eventually it transitioned, and then I saw this growth from horizontal, became vertical, became whatever, and so on. You know this.
Yeah.
So there. And then now, actually even took a break back in 2018. Took a step back in this because I got burnt out. I got, as in, for sure, anyone in this industry.
We do have an episode about burnout.
Oh,
So
that's
shout
good.
out. Link natin dito.
That's good.
Sorry.
That's good.
Nag-plug.
So I really got burnt out. Talagang I actually walked away from this. Like I don't wanna do this again. Parang ganun, nag-walk out na ako. But went back slowly and sort of found myself in a space wherein I could finally define the kind of production work that I can do. Kasi parang feeling ko over the years, finally earned my stripes, you know? Like,
Oh, for sure.
like all
Definitely.
through that work, and found my space, found my voice as a producer or as a creative,
Yeah.
which I never had before. Kasi parang I've always felt I was living under a shadow of either a mentor or either, you know, because I was young, I was still figuring out what to do. So now, kind of a little smarter, you know, a little more mature, and I know my way around it, around the business, so I can understand it more. So, yun, nandun na ako sa point na I'm already at a point wherein I can create content at my own terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the dream naman
Ish.
for most
So,
advertisers.
Yeah.
You know, you being able to have influence enough to be able to control your own time, to control the way that you want to do things. Sana umabot ako doon.
Diba? Dude, when you get to work with her, my gosh, it's like, alam niyang tama siya. Alam niyang tama siya, pero the way she will tell you na mali ka is not mali ka. Like talagang, she knows na every person that you'll get to work with in production, na I feel like templated na in her head na Leandro is this type of guy. Okay,
Wow.
ganito dapat yung approach ko
Yeah.
for him.
Basa mo na agad.
Para walang magiging in between you conversing about the main idea. Like walang things may mention
I
na
do
might be
that.
triggering. Alam mo yun. And to me, it's a super power, dude. Like siya alam na talaga niya. Like there have been times na nag-shoot kami, and then kaming mga creatives talagang like we're racking our brains na parang fuck, this is what's happening. What do we do now? Tapos si Danise, nung time na yun, parang she had a meeting na ganyan. So wala siya for the good maybe 15 minutes. When she came back, we were all huddled on the floor. Tapos parang we were all thinking about what we're gonna do. She was like, oh, anong gagawin na? Anong meron? Okay, ako na bahala. And then dude, problem solved. Fairy godmother, guys, I'm telling you. Fairy
It
godmother.
was so
Talaga
funny.
siya.
Look, going back to that example. So they were scattered on the floor. They were panicking. Something was happening in the shoot. Because I just stepped away yun nga, for like 10 minutes. I took a call. Went back. Ano nangyayari? Ba't kakagulo? Ganyan. Punta ako, ganyan. Tapos saririn ko sila. So everybody was talking. Parang, ganito, ganyan. And then I just really had to listen and see, okay, this is the issue. Okay, so I heard the issue, but those are the moments na parang as a producer, you really have to make hard decisions for everyone. So right on the spot, I knew nobody was making a decision. That was the only issue. Like many things were happening, but nobody was making a decision.
Tama.
So I just had to decide, okay, in this situation, what do I have to do? How to do it, and what will be the impact, right?
Yeah.
So I just had to tell the client, okay, this is what's happening. This is what we're gonna do. So if we do this, this is this. If we
Yeah.
do this route, this. So you pick.
Yeah.
And then if you're good, okay, then good. Let's move on. And then they pick option A. Okay, option A, let's go. Okay na, move on. And then
Diba?
we went back grinding.
Parang,
So she makes you feel like you're the one making the decision, but she's made it for you na.
Yeah.
She's giving you options.
So anyway,
I
so
need
I
that
feel
shit.
like that's a huge part of my work, yeah. Which is funny because I feel like over the years, ko lang siguro masasabi how I'm able to do that. Because I've met so many kinds of people.
experience talaga.
Yeah, and then
Experience talaga.
you'll eventually meet them again, and then you'll meet the same kinds of people, so you will eventually realize how to deal with certain types of people. So there.
Ganda.
Grabe.
Ganda, grabe yun.
Grabe
Like I
talaga.
even have a deck about it.
I'm gonna need that tech.
Yeah.
Parang I feel like when you think Girl Scout, it's not the girls that are selling cookies. To me, si Danise yung Girl Scout. Like, any problem, she's fucking ready for it, dude. Like, kahit anong problema pa yan during production, she has an answer. And hindi pa yan, like, this is the only answer. Oh, here. You have options A to B. A to D, diba? Oh, sige, pili ka dyan. Lahat yan gagana.
Yeah.
Solid.
Parang, I think in production, you always have to think that you can do anything, to be honest. It's just really up to you how to do it. Parang,
Right.
I always tell people, production or producing in general is like driving a car. So if I'm the producer, it's like, I'm the driver of this car and I make sure everyone, ida-drive ko kayo from point A to point B.
Yeah.
But it's up to you on how we can make this experience. If gusto nyo ba Vios na experience or BMW na experience?
Uy, maganda naman views na bago.
Diba?
Diba? Tsaka kung gusto parang Vios na long drive o Vios na scenic route.
Correct.
Diba?
Malubak?
Pwede naman.
Pero darating tayo sa destination.
Gets. Ang ganda ng analogy, gago.
Parang it's always that. Like, at the end of the day, it's about from point A to point B. Parang if you're the producer, it's your job to make sure everyone like finishes the job.
For sure.
Like we have to finish the job. Ako at the end of the day, that's my mindset. Like
Tama.
Yeah.
have to finish the job. Yeah.
I like what you said about your whole journey. As in, naisip ko nga yung route na yun, yung non-nepo baby route.
Yeah.
Pero hirap nun Ang hirap nun.
Yeah.
So,
Hirap na
respect. But are there instances wherein outside of, kasi you mentioned na napadpad ka sa advertising side of production. Do you also have experience in other kinds of production naman? Like feature films, for example?
I do. Also back in college, I've been exposed to, independent films. I've done those. I mean, everybody knew about Cinemalaya. But I feel like I've been in that world before. I've made motion pictures. And then actually a few years ago, I also got involved in a major studio here and started working as a producer for those and creating long form films. It's such a different approach compared to advertising, because in filmmaking, it's such a work in progress every day.
Yeah.
Parang every day it changes over time and it's so different and it's so weird to, kasi in advertising, diba, you always have an objective. Like, the end of the day, the objective is to actually sell a product.
Right.
Right? Like, whatever story you're telling, at the end of it, you're selling something.
Yeah.
In a film, so it's about the story that you're telling and how compelling that is. And then when I was working for that studio, I was always thinking about these films do have an impact, right, to an audience. And how does that make me also as part of that creative team who's producing it? Like, how do I make sure that this film doesn't offend someone? That this film, or if it's offensive, am I offending the right people?
Yeah. I was gonna ask. So you can offend naman someone.
Exactly.
Or you're gonna offend someone regardless. But
Yeah.
are you offending the right
But am I
person?
offending the right people? Am I reaching the right message? The
Yeah.
offensive
Right,
message. I
right.
don't know. Something like that. So it was fun. It was such a different experience. Like sitting through a script reading, sitting through pitches. Like you hear long form directors, like big names, they pitch their ideas and then you hear it from them how they envision it. Tas matatawa ka after a year. Oh, iba na.
Oh, shit.
Bakit naging iba na? I mean, things like that happens. Like sometimes a studio exec can crush the director's dream or make this director's dreams come
Grabe,
true.
no? I
So
think
it's so different.
Very interesting. I've always heard stories about how, studio influence is so fucking massive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Parang, I feel bad for the amount of creatives in that space that nabaril siya because nabaril yung idea niya kasi yung exec di tayo kikita dyan.
Exactly.
Like how often do you encounter, I mean, I'm assuming you encounter that all the time.
Or how many times have I encountered wherein they would force you into creating something.
You don't want.
Out of something. Kunwari, parang, we really need to make a film with celeb someone.
Gets.
Because this celeb, we have asset with this person. Let's leverage that.
Sino kaya yung exec na nakaisip ng Viva Max no? Grabe. Ang galing, honestly, ang galing niya. Pero at the same time, siguro yung mga directors na parang, fuck, do I wanna make fucking nudie films, you know?
Soft porn.
Oh, softcore.
Pero, diba? I mean, that's the kind of business that, we have here in the
It
Philippines.
is a business.
And
it is a business.
it's so strange kasi abroad, I've also had like a view on how they view cinema. It's so different from here. Like,
Well, what's the biggest difference? What do you say?
one of the things is more on how we commercialized films.
Ooh.
Kasi here talaga, a bulk of the films here, or the long form films here, is really about selling money, right? Like at the end of the day, it's really the like selling out. But abroad, sometimes it's so thoughtful, like it's so mindful on how they make these films hanggang sa distribution process. It was so well thought. Like I've heard stories about curated cinemas in the States, like curated release on how they really planted on distributing the film because they really wanted to hit the right market.
Galing.
Or right
Art
audience
form
rather.
talaga.
Yeah, so there's a daming aspect, yeah, I would say.
Pero going back naman to the advertising space, I mean, obviously, I think that's more where you're more experienced. And what are the major differences in terms of, I mean, aside from yung, the thoughtfulness of
Yeah.
film, diba? Ano ba yung mga biggest differences between, filmmaking and doing an ad?
I think in advertising in general, paano ba? It's so tedious. Every little step is being approved, or
Oh, that's true.
everything, every inch, every color, every cloth,
Every color. Can you make this 40% more blue?
Pwede bang chambray blue yung polo? Kailangan chambray, chambray. Parang, ano ba yung chambray na yan? Or, parang, every aspect is like so tedious just because you only have 30 seconds to tell a
That's
story. So everybody looks at it in a very microscopic way,
Yeah.
I guess. Unlike big films, literally, you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to really always step back and see how everything connects to each other, things like that. That's why it takes years to create a film.
So do you think like the hierarchy is like the change or the difference in hierarchy is really impactful when it comes to the timeline of, let's say, comparing an advertising or like a TVC compared to a full-length film? Since the hierarchy is different in TVCs, like let's say you have a client, you have your agency, and then you have your production team, as compared to what I'm thinking is like kunwari, for a full-length film, your director, and then your director's team, and I mean your producer's team, and then you have the studio.
Yeah.
So do you think the difference in that nasa sobrang daming steps, mas matagal talaga yung process? Which is weird mas matagal yung process ng TVC pero mas matagal ma-produce yung full length.
Films. I feel like, that's a good question. I feel like it's not in the process because I know filmmakers who have done films less than like 1 month. Like people can do that. Like they can make films based on the timeline. Siguro, if I'm gonna, maybe it's more of the culture of like how we just do things or how we process things, and it boils down to the 3 main things in production, which is fast, cheap, great. Pick only 2. You can
Damn.
be right. So you can be fast and great, but it's not
It's
cheap.
not gonna be cheap.
It's not gonna
You can be cheap and great, but
not gonna
not
be
fast. Can be, last. Cheap and fast.
It's not gonna be great.
Oh yeah, cheap
But
and fast.
It's not gonna be
not
great.
It's
great.
not gonna be great.
So I feel like
What
it
a framework.
kind of
Strat ulit.
right?
Strat ulit.
kind of boils down into
Right.
those 3 main things as well. But I don't know, it's just a really different universe, I guess. I would say filmmaking, like narrative long form motion pictures, takes so long because there's so much effort in it. Like the research, the story mining, the
that's
building
true.
of the characters, the building of the world that they want to create. Because literally, they're creating a different world.
Yeah.
Totoo.
Right? In advertising, you have a strat, you have an objective, you have this roadmap of how you will take the journey of your customer or of your target market into, stitching all that in and create something creative or produce something creatively to be able to return to that journey with that market
Yeah.
to be able to purchase your stuff.
Tama.
So I feel like I can't compare it. Like, it's not apples to apples. I can only compare the craft. Like,
Yeah.
I can say the craft is like still the discipline is the same. Like, you hire a DOP I cannot say that commercials are not cinematic, but because they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then full length films can be cinematic, can be also glossy, can be also annoying, So marami silang aspects.
So, with all the, yung mga differences between filmmaking and advertising, production and advertising, do you prefer one over the other? I think it's an easy question. I think I already know what you're gonna say, but yeah.
Honestly, I don't have a preference
I didn't
because
see that coming.
I'm actually the kind of person that I would rather be in a situation wherein I can create things, regardless if it's a movie, if it's a commercial, if it's just a TikTok video, a YouTube video. I'm always that kind of person who would just want to create things and bring ideas to life. So even this podcast, I'm so into this. I'm so interested. I really want to explore this. I want to, how do we make this better? How do we elevate this experience? So I'm all about that creating process.
Right.
So I really don't have a preference. For as long as I get to bring ideas to life, that's my thing
So you're saying
as a creative.
your preference is the actual process rather than the output.
I guess, yeah.
Production.
That's
That's our
so
preference.
Production.
interesting. I was expecting to be like
Yeah.
filmmaking because obviously you're a bit more.
Kasi art.
Oh,
Kasi
That's
mas
such a-
fulfilling. Kasi sa
Yeah.
advertising, your soul is getting sucked into it. And tayo na parang, pag nag-advertising ka, mukhang pera, gago. Parang,
Totoo.
diba?
Ba't ka nag-sell out?
Exactly. Alam mo, ever since I became an advertising producer, all of my friends who are in filmmaking
Yeah.
always judges me and say, tayo na sell out ka, mga pera. Parang ako, so, I like the money.
May pera pa rin.
may pera. Yun naman yun. May pera.
I like the money and I'm living my best life, but I get to make things. It doesn't matter if it has a big impact or no impact at all, but the fact that I'm creating things, I feel like that's the best thing out of my
Totoo.
job.
That's such a fresh. Actually, that's not even fresh. It's just foreign to me.
Yeah.
Na parang
Okay lang both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we hear a lot about, people who are like, fucking advertising.
Yeah.
Fuck me, dude. Like,
Marami rin akong ganyan. Oo naman. Like,
Yeah.
I'm jaded.
no, but it's interesting. It's interesting lang yung idea na it's really more on the process that's interesting to you rather than what you're actually making. So I think that's such a positive spin or a positive perspective on being creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being
I-
advertising creative.
Yeah.
I always tell
exactly.
din nga people parang, I guess siguro kaya ganun ako. I know for a fact, everyone is creative, right? Like,
Yeah.
everyone. But not everybody can be a creative. When I say that, in a sense wherein you don't get to have that exercise or you don't get to have that practice or that discipline in the craft. And I feel like that what's make me an expert.
Yeah.
Because I practice that every day. And if you give me a challenge, if you give me a brief now, I can easily think of 4 ways to do it.
Gets.
We'll get to
3
that.
things
We'll
to-
get to that.
Like, right? Like, I can easily do that in my head just because I am practicing. I'm a practicing creative.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just creative, but I am a creative.
Yeah.
Like, I know how to make those ideas work. So I think that's the big difference. That's why I don't have a preference. Because I
Ganda.
feel like anything you do, we can make things creative. Like, dude, let's make things about these drinks. I don't know. Why not let's make a podcast about these drinks? Idea, what if it's just an ASMR, whatever podcast, pero it's beautiful. The origins of the cherry, you put in, but I don't know, something like
I
that.
listen to that shit.
Like create a story within a story of how that adventure, oh, it's a podcast about creating cocktails, but you don't know the ingredients, you just hear them. I don't know.
Whoa.
Something like I feel like that's the beauty of production, literally bringing things to life.
Holy shit.
I always tell people, if directors, writers are the visionaries, I'm the builder, right? I'm the person you reach out to if you have a thought, and I think we can do this like this way, maybe this way, let's explore the moon this way, I don't know.
For people who are listening in, what is the usual workflow as a producer for something ad based? So let's say we get you for diba, we need this deliverable, let's say kunwari, a jingle. Where does your work begin and when does your work end? Like what is the regular daily struggles or maybe daily routine of a producer?
Interesting. To be honest, there's no more. Before, siguro when I started, like the process of production was super, in advertising, super placado. Like from a brief, you start from a brief, you go to a bid, wherein you invite production houses, you invite directors to bid for a project, you award it, and then you start all the preps from feasibility to pre-production, shoot, post-production, you edit, you color grade, you online, and then you release. That's it, right? Like that's the most linear way to produce something. Like back in the day, everything goes into that process. But ever since digital came in, it really, really changed the atmosphere. Like, I don't know how to explain it in the best way possible, but there were a lot of things in a way that got cut out in terms of people cut out the fat in the process. Like, there were naging iba siya in a sense that people were more resourceful, people were more imaginative in creating. Like people were more, they are open to explore and working backwards and creating things out of the unusual.
Right.
Because we get so many different briefs now. You see the ads now. Like you see strange ads, you see very glossy ads, you know that. So parang it goes to a different mindset already, but at the same time, it still boils down to that process wherein from briefing, get a director, do a pre-production, shoot it, edit it, and release it. So I guess that's it.
But I feel like, so since you mentioned like people are cutting out the fat, diba? I feel like as a creative, I feel like those small like conversations or dialogues that happen that add up to the actual idea is when people or creatives can actually put themselves or a part of themselves in the whole process of it all. So now that it's more of a lean thing, how do you insert yourself as a creative and not, the creative, or as a creative person? How do you still, because for sure there are times na you still want to instill a part of yourself or a thinking that you have in this project that you're making.
Right.
So
okay,
how do you insert that in the process?
Interesting. So I've always thought that my role in production, I will always have to be that person who has a three-way street, right? Like I feel like I cannot be, di ako pwedeng yes man lang. Cannot also be saying no all the time, right? But at the same time, I have to be flexible enough to be, so we can, evolve into something. So whenever I have a project and I feel like I can insert myself as a creative and, reinforce something, I try to make it a point wherein it should come from a context wherein it will really add value to it. Like I don't normally enforce something unless I know there's really real great value into it. Like for example, I
Yes.
think one of the things that I can think of, there was this one time, so we have this brief. It was very straightforward. It was a story about, like, it was a very sabihin na natin, it was a very straightforward story about the protagonist and how this protagonist story in, getting the product, let's say. So that was the story. The agency has a board, the director created the board. During the shoot, you're already filming. Shoot na. I was looking at the board. So I felt like, parang pwede pang baliin. I feel like there's still merit in making the story more interesting, but at the same time, we're still hitting the right objectives. We're still hitting the right intent. So I told the director, hindi ko nga pinaalam sa agency noong una.
Okay.
So I asked the director,
Spicy.
Direk, may idea ako. Let's change the ending. Sabi ko, let's change this in a way that I feel like the audience will get flipped. But at the same time, it's gonna be better. It's gonna be great. So I convinced the director, and the director said, sige. Pero sabi ko, pero gawin muna natin yung gusto ng agency and client as pre-prod.
Safety.
Kung ano yung sinabi sa PPM agreement, let's do it. Only if we have time.
You're right.
Kasi syempre ako rin parang I'm also conscious on the time, right? So I said, only if we have time. Okay. So we did na the agency board. Parang, okay, the client version, that's fine na. Well, they thought that we were at downtime. We shot that version. I said,
Shit.
shoot na the ending that we want.
Grabe.
So we shot the ending. They were seeing it in the camera. Parang they had no idea what we were doing. I was just said, we were just exploring something. Kung material lang.
Okay.
Pinamute ko yung playback. So they don't hear it. Kasi malayo kami. Yung agency nasa studio. Parang may malayo kami. Sige, i-mute mo lang yung playback. Hindi, nagtetest lang kami. Ganun. Material. B-roll lang. Shoot namin. Come offline. Because I always come, before ng face-to-face pa yung mga offline interlock, I come an hour before the clients. So I see the edit. So I told the director, where's our version? Patingin. So he edited it. And then I made a little edit to it. And then we showed that cut. So everybody was so surprised. Oh my God.
Solid.
When did you come up with this? We're like,
Solid.
while you guys were taking a break. So things like that. Pero we had to make a case. So
Yeah.
before we even played that version, we had to show, okay, as agreed in the pre-prod,
This is what we did.
This is what we did. So we play back the material. So happy sila, comment. And then we were like, the next part, parang, but wait. There's more. There's more. So we explored something. We just thought of something. And just look at it. We changed the ending, but we feel like it's gonna work. And yung version na yun nag-air.
Wow.
Ito, bleep it na lang. I'll share it para sa inyo na lang.
Sige.
Sa glory nyo na lang. Or mga wild decisions that you never knew clients would agree on. I heard this story. It wasn't mine. It wasn't my ad. It was a product. Hindi ko sasabihin yung product kasi malalaman nyo agad.
Okay.
There was this product. The ad was the brief. The intent is maangas.
Yeah.
Running. Alam niyo yung usual concept na crowd converging into a big space. Like, because it's the end of the world, but we're
Yes.
saving the world because of the product.
Okay.
Well, things like that. This director had a brilliant idea because the talent was so hot. Like, dude, hot talaga ni Sid. Like, so si Direk, in-explore lang na parang lagyan natin yung product sa boobs. Ganon. Parang,
Solid.
basta may ginawa sila and then nanggaling sa boobs yung shot.
Okay.
And dude, slow-mo.
Solid nun.
And it was in the shot. It was beautiful. So things like that. Like, you will hear so many stories like that. I'm sure if directors would listen to this, they would know this story.
Fuck, I don't want to bleep these. Fuck.
It was such a very prominent story because it was so funny. So things like that. I mean, in advertising, you don't really, to be honest, sometimes you feel like you're not making a lot of big impacts in terms of your creative input.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I
Right?
agree. Kasi I feel like, I mean, dito lumalabas na yung pagka-legit ni Denise in terms of her
Totoo,
loving the
dude.
process.
Totoo,
Because
dude.
maybe, you know, other producers would just follow the brief.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, it's rare. I don't know if it's rare. Let me know. But I feel like it's rare to find, you know, directors, producers at that level na parang, let's just fuck around with this a little bit.
Yeah.
Totoo.
Diba?
Kasi minsan, I know we get so jaded with this job.
For sure.
And yun nga we don't really do a lot of things that has a lot of impact unless talaga sa simula, yung brief nyo award-winning na. I mean, that's very rare, but it happens.
Right.
Like, people really create stuff kasi alam nila, okay, we're gonna create this ad because we're gonna enter this to awards and it's gonna be, social impact, whatever.
Gets.
Maraming, whatever, strat ka, alam mo yan. Diba? Yung mga
Fuck.
objective talaga, manalo ng can, whatever. But sometimes you have to find the glory also in the little things that you
For
do
sure.
and see how you can elevate the process, elevate the craft more.
Yeah.
Like, as in minsan di naman napapansin ng mga tao. For example, I remember we did this ad wherein it was a food product, and then we were getting sick of the usual voiceovers. Yung mga usual announcer VO, parang
Yeah.
papagod ako, parang naiinis na ako. Parang I just felt like the ad needed new energy. So what I did, I texted a bunch of friends, musician friends. I said, do you guys know any young rappers that I can get and record them just to say a
Ganda na
few
discover si
lines?
Eminem, guys.
So I found a few friends who was into rapping, never heard of advertising and recording VO. I said, hey, come in the studio and just throw in this a few lines naturally as a rapper. So like, nakakatawa this guy. And para I called 3 people. This guy, as in natural lang. Didn't even give context masyado to the brief. I just said, try to read it in beats. Like as if you're rapping. So parang, with the help of the ganun, or whatever. Tapos alam mo, sobrang, oh wow. Like the energy suddenly changed. Like it shifted drastically. It was so different. Then we were able to record this person. Tapos parang naging VO siya ng brand na to for like a year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like kumita siya for a year.
Ito yung origin story ni Al James. Pero do you feel ba, or do you think na sometimes when you do have those types of inputs that make, not really I want to say break, pero make it better than the original, do you feel like those are the best projects that you've worked with? If not, what was the best project you've worked with?
Interesting.
Or like, not really favorite that you've worked with, pero kahit
Pinaka-memorable
na project for you.
project mo.
Siya ang dami.
Pinaka-tumatak sa'yo as a person.
Depende, award-winning ba daw or hindi?
Oo nga award-winning ba? Basura.
Feeling para sa'yo. Hindi, sige.
Kasi may memorable din na basura.
Hindi, yung dalawa.
Charot.
Memorable na sobrang solid, tapos memorable sobrang basura.
Okay.
Sige. Memorable na solid. Sige. Usually yung mga memorable na solid are mostly the type of ads that it was logistically challenging. Na tipong we had to cross borders, we had to shoot a shot in a freaking island na tipong muntik ka na may ma-stuck kasi yung director mo gusto pa mag-shoot ng sunrise na parang direct, tama na. May mga ganong moments. Kasi, or may mga moments na parang I remember this ad. We were in an island. Like, you have to take a boat to that island. So, it's far from the coast. Talagang nasa gitna siya ng dagat. Had to shoot the scenes there. Tapos, we have to go back to the shore by 4 o'clock. Kasi otherwise, this sobrang high tide. And then the current is so bad. Like, it's dangerous.
Okay.
Mag-4 na. Yung director ko, puta, nandun pa sa taas. Sabi niya, teka lang, ang ganda ng shot, ganyan. Parang gusto pa nilang kunin. Gusto pang patalunin yung talent. Yung talent, celeb.
Oh my gosh.
Shit.
So parang ako, oh my God. Like, lahat na nung, alam mo, stress alarms ko. Parang it's all up in the air. But I had to believe my director that it was worth it, that we had to wait for it. Like, okay. So okay, I'm gonna support you in this. Do the shot. But we told him na parang, do the shot now. If it fails, you can't do it anymore. Like, we have to go. Parang, you have one chance, do it right. If you can't do it right, then let's pack.
Life and death na
Then let's go na. Kasi literal, parang, hindi tayo, masastuck tayo dito. Like, we can't go out of this island. So, took the shot. Buta, magaling siya. So, took the shot, and napasok sa edit.
Nice.
So, parang, And then, so it was so memorable in that sense because you won't believe the things.
The struggle.
Diba ba?
Yeah.
And the stupid decisions you have to make
Oh, yeah.
just to do something. And then, in the end, it will be fulfilling because the work is so good. Down from the music, the editing, and then the energy of the client and the agency. Because what I love about it, I never felt in that project that we were just suppliers.
Yeah, it's your part of it talaga.
Because
Ganda.
I kind of hated it sometimes, especially at this point. Siguro new generation na to because nga some clients or some agencies really treat production people as suppliers.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah,
look
yeah. I
down
get
on
that.
us and see, oh, this is my vision. So gawin nyo.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? They don't treat us as collaborators, as partners.
Yeah.
So what I loved about that project, not only we were able to make great output, but they treated us as partners.
Ganda.
It was a collaborative effort down from the client. The client trusted our decisions, trusted our recommendations, and never doubted. Like, you won't hear stupid comments about, bakit may bokeh?
Yeah.
Yung mga ganun. They will never judge the cinematic decisions of the director.
Tama.
They will
That's
only
nice.
ask about, is the positioning of my brand correct? Like, am I
The
telling
questions that matter.
right? Like, am I telling the right brand equity in this sense?
Right.
Because sometimes, because nga nag-explore kayo, you tend to change how you communicate the brand, right? So as clients, that's your job.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
look at the brand.
Tama.
And you're the brand custodian. So you have to see na parang, is this right from my brand, right? And as the agency, you're also that gatekeeper. You're also that protector. And at the same time, you bring in the table the vision of how you saw, like how you envision this messaging or how you say this story.
Yeah.
And excuse me, as the production people, the director and the producer, it's our job that we interpret that vision correctly. So, yun, for me, that's the best part. Like, those are the best ones.
Yeah.
Na memorable. Parang, everything just worked well. And then, nanalo pa ng awards. So, parang,
Nice.
Diba? Na parang,
the best.
I totally agree na parang the clients that I like are those that don't only believe in the capability of their suppliers but also in the potential na the idea can have knowing na ito yung suppliers nyo.
correct.
Diba? Hindi lang siya parang, yun nga, na parang,
No,
I'm
because-
paying you, this is my idea,
Yeah,
better make it
exactly.
work.
Correct.
Diba? Wala
Or-
nang input.
Or because we were the cheapest ones.
Yeah.
That you can
then they don't
afford.
Yeah.
view you in the same level.
Exactly.
There's a lot of that in our
Sobra.
industry, and it's really sad to encounter those kinds of partners.
It's so funny because nga kami, prod people, sobrang open in the air yung rates namin. Everybody has like a price tag on our
Yeah.
hand. So parang if you meet a tier 1 director, you'd only think na, oh, kaya mahal yun si Direk kasi
ganito.
ito yan,
Yeah.
ganyan yan.
Yeah.
May ano daw yan. I don't know, things like that. Sometimes, I don't know.
It's so nice that Danise
No?
can talk to us about stuff like this na parang, in Australia or in London or ganyan. Parang, I feel like you've done a good, like a good amount of like meeting people and like networking with people. Do you feel like that is a big, that's a big arrow in your quiver that you have to have as a producer? Na you parang your networking skills always have to be like top of your game.
Ako, definitely, yeah. It's also for my own benefit.
Totoo. For
right?
sure.
Like,
Totoo.
to be honest, like, I'm only doing it because it's also for myself. Like,
Yeah.
and in general naman kasi, I'm also very accommodating, and I'm not shy to reach out. Like sometimes I'm not even shy about, like, sometimes I send DMs to my idols. For example, kunwari, like, since I'm so into cycling, sometimes nagre-react ako sa stories ng idol ko.
Peter
Parang,
Sagan ba
ride
to?
safe idol. Parang jokes, ride safe idol. Tapos parang, ang pake. Parang, tapos sabi ko nga minsan, naisip ko, pag to nag-reply, oo, magpipitch agad ako. Parang, anong email mo, idol?
No, pero grabe nga. Kasi I
Diba?
feel like with the networking you've done, parang you know so many people na here, ano lang, backstory between me and Danise. She asked me a couple of months ago, parang, what's your dream project pa? So I gave her like a peg. I showed her na parang itik na gusto kong gawin, ganyan, blah, blah, blah. And usually, people who support you would say na parang, oh, tara, let's do it. Diba? Ganyan. si Danise, extra level of support. Tara, let's do it. Pitch it natin siya sa gantong kliyente. Itong kliyente na to mismo will be able or will be open to that.
Grabe.
As in, meron ako. Parang email ko na ba to? Mag-set na ba tayo ng meeting? Kasi parang,
Totoo.
to me, I feel like it will only be just a dream if we talk about it.
Unless you put
Unless you really put an effort and do something about it. Like, there's no harm naman eh. Wala namang wala sa atin eh. So if you're watching this, meron kaming gustong gawing film. So,
Tama.
message nyo kami. So yung mga things like that. Like even for myself, sometimes, I do remember, like, I really want to do something about certain thing. And I guess nandun na ako sa point na I'm not afraid to actually ask for it and ask, hey, can we do something with this? What can we do? Is this something we can pull off? Is this something we can take? Okay, perfect example. During the pandemic, so when nag-lockdown, right? Especially for us, it was so difficult for production kasi parang we felt, holy shit, this is the end for us.
Totoo.
Like, not being on set.
Shit, for
How can we create things? Right? And oh my God. And then I remember everyone was doing remote shooting for the first time, like exploring their stuff. And then I see these videos. It was the same messaging na parang, we're not alone, but we're together. Ganong type of video. There's even a meme about it na parang all pandemic videos have the same messaging and then they edited all of the videos.
insert somewhere in the script, new normal.
Yeah. Exactly.
Fuck, can you imagine the retrospective we'll have in a few years? Fuck.
Dude,
On the
trip
pandemic.
Yan. Laugh
Diba?
trip yan.
And then I remember looking at that and I said, I want to put out a video. I want to put out something, not necessarily a video, but something that met with a different messaging. I hated the messaging about you're not alone, you're together, new normal, eme. I hated that. So I wanted to acknowledge that what you're feeling is normal, that what you're feeling is really bothersome, that you're struggling. And I want to acknowledge that you're struggling, that you are going through something that's so alien to everyone, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, and then we collaborated with friends. Ito, I think I can name drop this. It was with Linya Linya. Search for it. It was called Kalmahan Mo Lang video. It was a very nice passion project. I did it with Direk Jello, with Direk Gio, Kyle, with Studio V. It was a effort. Ali Sangalang, he's an incredible writer. He wrote this piece about, it's like a meditation guide about being calm and how we can parang stay calm in this situation. And then since we can't shoot, we shot our own houses. And Linya Linya had these amazing animated characters. We animated those characters, like composited them in the live video. So like I shot my own room, put the character there, like they're waking up, they're writing, ganyan. They're playing the piano.
Cool.
Maybe we can insert the B-rolls in this. That's fine. It's mine naman.
Sige.
So, ganyan. And then, in that moment that I felt like, those were the things that I knew, like, my power as a creative.
Yeah.
Na, again, bringing vision to life. Na, it's only just going to be a dream if you don't do anything about it. So, I did something about it. So,
Shit.
Solid.
That's
reached out
so
to friends,
inspirational.
right? And told my friends, hey, let's do this. Let's do this piece. And possible naman eh, kaya naman eh. Just really have to make that step and create. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hearing so many things that Danise has worked on, parang, you know, her journey. Diba? Let's put this journey to the test, Danise. I think it's time for a secret segment.
What is this?
Secret segment! Okay.
Chung.
So the secret segment is a typical thing that you'll hear.
Very serious. Let's loosen up a bit.
Okay.
So it's more of like, you know, typical people, let's say, you meet your advertising hero. Sabihin niya sa'yo, okay, give me an elevator
It's
pitch.
a fucking elevator pitch.
Diba? So now, we
Sino
want
ba?
you to give us an elevator pitch.
Hero ko.
Pero you're gonna choose lang between 4 items. Tapos we want you to think of a concept of how you're gonna sell this item today.
Okay.
Like come up with like a pitch for a video or how like an ad that you do with this product for.
Okay.
Okay, so your options are 1, baller ID.
Okay.
Baller ID.
As in,
You,
like lip
we're
stroke.
old
Okay,
here.
okay.
Guys. We're old
Okay.
here. It's for the youngins out there. It's the rubber fucking.
okay.
Next is
Baller ID.
sex bands.
Okay.
Those black
Do
bands.
you guys know what
na yun.
sex bands are? Fuck.
Write in the comment section if you know what sex bands are.
Where to buy?
Sex
Send
bands are
link.
like, may backstory pa eh. Pag sinira mo daw yun,
Oddcast,
nung high
promo
school,
ko, charot.
kung may sex band kasi sinira mo yun, ibig sabihin, hindi ka ng virgin.
Oh my God.
Yung black na band.
Yeah.
Oh my, this
And so
goes
pag-
so much of the median range of
I
the
know,
age.
Ito, next
Okay.
one. Shutter shades.
Oh my God, like
Shutter
Kanye West.
Yes,
Parang
sir.
ina.
Yeah. And
God.
the last one is more current. Nipple tape.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'll
baller
pick
ID,
one.
sex
Yeah, you
bands, shutter shades, or nipple tape.
I'll pick one and then come up with a concept of like a video,
Yeah,
like
video
an
for an ad.
elevator pitch.
Yeah. Like, how are you gonna sell
Hirap
it?
naman nito.
How are you gonna sell it now in today's... Kasi like parang baller ID bands talaga ba?
Oh, shutter shades. Talaga ba?
Wala na shutter shades
mo ba
to.
ng shutter shade? I didn't even buy one when I was...
Shutter shades.
No, when it was a thing. Like, I didn't even get one.
I had pairs.
pairs.
Yeah, different
my
colors, dude. Depends on the day eh.
Sige, wait lang. Isip ako, very quick.
Go lang,
Ang
go
hirap nung sa product nagsimula, dapat may big idea. Then, kailangan ko pa mag-isip ng big idea. Because, okay, if there's one thing I'm good at, I'm not really focused on execution as a type of person. I really like looking at big ideas first
Okay.
before, because I feel like execution is so easy. Like, I can easily say, yun nga, like si shutter shades, top of mind, makakaisip agad ako ng treatment na parang, oh my God, okay, may naisip ako.
Oh shit. Okay.
Parang, sige, pero gusto ko ng big idea. Wait lang, kailangan mag-connect. Gusto ko
Sige
ng,
lang. See guys, don't do your work subpar.
yeah, because I feel like, okay, I don't want to show a sample already, like a treatment I want to do
Yeah.
on how to shoot it without even putting meaning into it, right? Like without even
Damn.
telling a story into it. Kasi,
That's my job. I'm bad.
right? Like, what's the point of selling the shutter shades? Maybe that's why I didn't buy it as a kid. Because I wasn't...
You didn't see the purpose.
I
Yeah.
wasn't convinced. What was the song of Kanye when he was wearing it?
Stronger ba?
Stronger.
Wait lang.
Stronger.
So, kung stronger, teka lang,
Faster,
Google ko
stronger.
lang yung ano.
Go lang.
Kasi, tingnan lang natin yung lyrics ng stronger. Baka may mapulot ako
kumanta
na...
bigla.
Not only make me
Wait lang.
stronger.
Work it, make it, make it harder.
I need you right now.
Tapos sinuot lang niya.
Sinuot lang niya.
Shit, pausin
Teka lang,
mo
sorry.
naman.
Siyempre mag-historicals muna tayo.
Tama.
Tingnan natin yung origins nung... Sige, shutter shades na yung pinili ko ah. So, ano ang origins ng shutter shades? So, sinuot niya lang. It makes him stronger. Hindi, kasi yung concept nitong music video niya, nasa Japanese ek siya. Oh, okay.
Daft Punk.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Damn, I'm gonna listen to this on the way home.
So, sige, ang insight, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Okay, so yun yung insight ko.
Damn.
So,
Wow.
big idea, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, the connection in the product is that because you have so many eme. So many eme and the shutters and the eyes, you're multifaceted. Parang you get to be free, whatever. Okay, so that's the RTB.
Holy shit. It's got
Sige,
really
siguro.
serious.
Oo nga eh. Parang, bigla ako naging...
Walang pitch to talaga.
Oo nga, wala nga eh. Sige. So, makes you stronger. Okay. So, what if the ad goes, so you see the shutter shades. It's a very, very fast cut film. We see so many characters, starting from a kid probably. Like, maybe the scene, someone starting from the house, running across somewhere in the country or, tas fast cut siya, nag-iiba-ibang tao. As in, isipin natin mga 100 yung...
Na-imagine ko yun, gago.
Cut. So, unang kumuha bata, gets the shades, and then wears it, run. And then when this person is running kunwari, across like a soccer field, intercut with so many different people, so many different versions. May athlete, may whatever, may nanay, may ganyan, may buntis, ganyan, lahat. Lahat ng idea, may pilay, ganun. Tapos takbo. And then when the people are running across the frame was also glitching. As if recreating the shades. Glitching, takbo. And then we got back to the original kid who took the shades, wore the shades, and parang nag-emanate from the glitch, napunta dun sa shades. Supers go, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Kasi the insight goes, the people that represented that running are the people that represents the strongest people you know. Someone who's pregnant, someone who was
Chills.
pilay, someone
Chills.
was ganyan.
Chills.
And then I'll pitch it in a way that this shutter shades. Yun, na parang, what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Damn.
Yeah.
I was expecting like fucking.
Ako rin eh.
I was just fucking around.
Ako nga, parang yung idea ko, may shades na walang shutter. Tapos pag sinabi niyang stronger, magkakaisa. Better, magkakaisa.
Tapos, ang peg ko, wait lang. May peg ako. So, there was this Nike ad I super loved in India. It was called Make Every Yard Count. The treatment was every cricket player in the country, they shot them na interspace. So, gusto kong ganito. Tapos magmumukha siyang shutter. Magmumukha siyang shutter shades in the end.
I think we have to PMP this.
Oh,
Okay.
I get it. Yeah.
Yo.
So, ganyan, ma-imagine mo yung from the kid. Tapos, takbo siya, tapos nag-glitch. Tapos, iba-ibang klaseng strong people. Like, may babae, may pilay, may buntis, may ganun.
That's fucking amazing.
Now, bring back shutter shades.
Now I want to buy
Tapos,
shutter
na-imagine
shades.
mo, takbo sila, di ba? Tapos,
Pati yung nasa air.
Di ba? Tapos, nag-glitch.
Yo.
And then, I can imagine them wearing the product. Yeah. And then, the music should be as raw as that.
Yeah.
Na tipong, yung music, dahil nga, makes you stronger. So, dapat raw. As hindi siya scored. Like, parang, it's just voices.
Yeah,
it's just
tipong
drumming.
Team song ni Triple H, ganun.
Hindi, o kaya parang drum and bass pero si Glock 9 yung...
Oo,
yung
pwede.
diba?
Or nagra-rap or something na parang puro nagsasalita. I don't know. Or sino na bang rappers ngayon? Skutat. Sino? I hear this always in TikTok.
Huwag tayo mag-excuse na guys. May issue yan. Mag
Okay. Or Glock 9. Or maybe, i-record natin yung old recordings of Francis M.
Yon.
And then, gagawin natin, i-AI natin. Like, gawin
Putra,
natin medyo, yung music niya, distorted. Kasi distorted yung product.
Kung sino
Boom!
man yung may copyright ng Shutter Shades, hit us up. Dude, what the fuck?
Pwede na ba yan?
Pwede.
Pwede na ba yun sa ating, secret segment?
Parang nagka-existential crisis kami na Leandro.
I'm
bigla.
really bad at my job.
Yun lang. Kasi I feel like I'm the kind of creative that I cannot think of an inspiration
No, that makes sense.
unless I know what story to tell.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow, I wish everyone was like that.
I
Parang the advertising world would be so much better. if everyone was like that.
That's so true.
Like, parang, you always have to put it into context, right? What kind of story do you want to tell? Sabi nga parang, ano bang dating ko?
Tama.
Yan.
Wow.
Damn. I
Wow.
think we can't follow that.
No,
I think
parang-
we need to end here.
Yes, I think so also.
That's good.
Amazing.
Wow, Danise.
Thank
Medyo
you.
nagka-chills ako. As in goosebumps online.
Iba talaga. Iba.
But yeah, I think that's all the time we have for this
Alright,
episode. That was
good.
an amazing
It
episode.
was so many insights, so many bleeps in this
I
episode.
know, I'm so
also.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Gusto niya magkaroon na lang tayo na secret session, chikahan.
Tama.
And come here and Odd Cafe.
Wow,
Yeah.
live episode.
Oo.
Let's do that. Wow,
Pwede!
live episode.
Working
Yeah.
sesh, brainstorm,
Yeah.
pitch, charot. Anyway, but thank you guys for having
No,
me.
thank you for coming. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Danise, for guesting on the show. Super appreciate your time, dude. Like,
And also,
sorry, I'm still stewing on that fucking video.
no, and also parang I feel like you've been the most,
That was the most advertising. Yeah.
yeah. I think this is the most advertising and the most also parang good perspective about advertising
Yeah.
that we've had
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
in a while.
It shows my experience.
It
does.
really does.
It does.
Holy shit.
Grabe.
Yeah.
Grabe.
Do you want to plug anything before?
Yeah,
you-
plug your socials. Do you have any
Oh,
work or that's gonna come out soon?
Well, you can follow me at The Nice Oyster. I don't know if you're interested in that, just follow me with my random, because I only post cycling stuff anyway. I do
Beast.
have YouTube, but it's all cycling stuff as well.
Yeah.
So go follow. Oh, if I'm gonna put out something, well, I'm putting out a small passion project. It's called Outwear, like out WHERE wear. So it's gonna be something for the adventurous souls out there.
I've seen the
Oh, yeah.
the
I
mock-ups,
showed you.
guys. It's amazing. If you're a hiker, spelunker,
Yeah,
scuba diver,
For sure.
these are the stuff you'd want to check out. So it's Outwear, OUTWHERE.
Yeah, outwear.
Outwear?
So it's a play of outwear
Yeah,
and
that's it.
outwear.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Grabe creative talaga.
Okay.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Oddcast wherever you listen to your podcast. We are on Spotify and on YouTube. You can watch us
Yep.
there.
Let us know also if things that you feel like can help us make this a better
Yeah.
podcast for everyone. Just
If you
write it
think
down in the comments.
DJ should be main host, I'll gladly step away.
Or if you have any interesting ideas you want me to bring to life,
Yes.
message
Yes.
me.
She can do
Maybe
it. Oh, yeah.
I can
She can
make
do
your
it.
dreams come true. Wait.
I'm gonna message you right after this.
Yeah. you
So-
should. Yeah.
And don't forget to like and follow the Oddcast wherever you're active on social. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at oddcast.ph.
Yep. And thanks again to Odd Cafe for our drinks of the night.
Thank you.
Good shit.
Good shit.
Thank you.
All right.
I think
Nice.
goodbye.
Goodbye,
everyone.
guys.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Goodbye.
See you
Good
next
night.
week.
Bye.